It's October 30th, one night before Halloween. And in the town of Millbrook, something impossible happened. A store appeared overnight. Now, I don't mean a new store opened. I mean it literally appeared. The building at 1313 Maple Street had been vacant for 3 years. Windows boarded up, for lease sign faded and crooked. But on the morning of October 30th, people walking past stopped dead in their tracks. The boards were gone. The windows gleamed, and hanging above the door was a hand-painted sign in elegant, old-fashioned script. Faces and Fables, Halloween Emporium. The window display was breathtaking. Dozens of masks, each one a masterpiece of craftsmanship. These weren't your Party City rubber monstrosities or cheap plastic superhero faces. These were works of art. The skin texture looked real. You could see pores, fine lines, the subtle variations in pigmentation that make human faces unique. There was a beautiful young woman with flowing auburn hair, an elderly man with kind eyes and weathered skin, a stern businesswoman with sharp cheekbones, a teenage boy with acne scars and an infectious grin. Each mask seemed to have a story, a personality, a life. By noon, a crowd had gathered. People pressed against the windows, mesmerized. Sarah Whitmore, a college student home for her weekend, was the first to go inside. She'd later tell the police, well, before she couldn't talk anymore, that the interior was even more impressive than the window display. The shop was impossibly large. The outside suggested maybe 1,000 square feet, but inside? It seemed to stretch back forever. Rows upon rows of masks on elegant wooden stands. Soft lighting, classical music playing from somewhere unseen, and the smell leather and something sweet, almost like vanilla, with a hint of copper underneath. Behind the counter stood the proprietor. He introduced himself as Mr. Vesper, tall, thin, impeccably dressed in a 3-piece suit that looked Victorian. His own face was odd, too smooth, too symmetrical, like he might be wearing one of his own masks. "Welcome," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "I see you're drawn to authenticity. Tired of cheap plastic pretenders, are we? Well, you've come to the right place. Each mask here is unique, handcrafted, individually fitted. Once you put it on, it will mold to your face perfectly, seamlessly. People won't even realize you're wearing a mask." Sarah picked up the mask of a glamorous woman in her 30s, high cheekbones, full lips, the kind of face that turned heads. "How much?" Mr. Vesper smiled. "For you, $39.95. Quite the bargain for transformation, don't you think?" $40 for a museum-quality mask? Sarah pulled out her credit card without hesitation. By October 30th, Mr. Vesper had sold 63 masks. The shop would be empty by morning. But Millbrook's nightmare was just beginning. Halloween morning. Sarah Whitmore woke up excited. She'd hung the mask on her bedroom mirror the night before. And even in the dim morning light, it was stunning. She'd decided on a backstory. She was Victoria Ashford, a wealthy socialite from New York. She'd even practiced the voice, the mannerisms. She picked up the mask. It felt strange in her hands, warm, almost like living skin, flexible in a way that seemed impossible for a prop. "Here goes nothing," she said, and pressed it to her face. The sensation was immediate and intense. The mask didn't just sit on her skin, it melted into it. She felt it spreading, conforming, becoming. It should have hurt. It should have felt wrong. But instead, it felt right, natural. Like coming home. Sarah looked in the mirror and gasped. The transformation was perfect. Absolutely perfect. No seams. No edges. No way to tell where her real face ended and the mask began. She touched her new cheekbones, her fuller lips. The skin moved naturally. She could feel the touch through it. "Holy shit," she whispered. "This is incredible." She spent 20 minutes just staring at herself. At Victoria. Then she noticed something odd. When she thought about her day classes, meeting friends, grabbing coffee, the thoughts felt wrong. Beneath her, Victoria wouldn't waste time in college coffee shops with broke students. Victoria would brunch at the country club. Victoria would spend the afternoon shopping, maybe get a massage. Sarah shook her head, laughing at herself. She was getting too into character, method acting for a Halloween party. That's all. But as she got dressed, she found herself reaching for clothes she'd never normally wear, a designer dress she'd bought on impulse and never had the confidence to put on. Heels. Jewelry. When she looked in the mirror again, Victoria looked back. And Victoria approved. "You look stunning, darling," she said out loud, then froze. That wasn't her voice. It was Victoria's voice. Cultured. Confident. With just a hint of condescension, Sarah tried to smile. Her normal, slightly crooked smile. But Victoria's face didn't smile that way. Victoria's smile was measured. Perfect. Practiced. A small flutter of panic rose in Sarah's chest. She reached up to the edge of the mask, looking for where it might separate from her skin. Her fingers found nothing. Just smooth, continuous skin. No seam, no edge, no way to grip and pull. "Okay," she said, Victoria's voice again. "Okay, time to take this off." She pulled. Nothing. Scratched at her cheeks, her forehead. Just skin. Real skin. She could feel pain when she scratched too hard. Could see the red marks appearing. The mask wasn't coming off, because it wasn't a mask anymore. It was her face. By 10 a.m. on Halloween, Millbrook General Hospital's emergency room was overwhelmed. 63 people. Everyone who'd bought a mask from Faces and Fables arrived in various states of panic. Marcus Thompson, who'd chosen a rugged outdoorsman mask, clawed at his face until his fingers bled. "Get it off! Get it off!" His wife tried to calm him, but Marcus, or rather, the person Marcus was becoming, didn't recognize her. "Who are you? Where am I? I need to get back to the mountain. The cabin. My traps need checking." Young Emily Bradford, only 14, had bought a mask of a Victorian-era woman. She sat in the waiting room speaking in perfect 19th century English, terrified and confused, asking for her lady's maid, and insisting that hospitals were filled with cholera and she must leave immediately. Dr. James Reeves examined patient after patient, growing more horrified with each one. The masks, the faces, were biologically integrated. Scans showed the foreign tissue had fused with the patient's original facial structure at a cellular level. Blood vessels had grown into it. Nerve endings had connected. It wasn't a mask sitting on skin. It was skin. New skin that had somehow replaced the old. "This is impossible," Dr. Reeves muttered, looking at an MRI of Sarah Whitmore's skull. "This is medically impossible." But it was happening. And worse, the psychological changes were accelerating. Sarah Victoria had stopped panicking. She sat in the examination room with perfect posture, occasionally checking her manicure with mild disapproval. When Dr. Reeves tried to explain what had happened, she interrupted him. "Really, doctor, this is all quite tedious. I have a luncheon to attend. At the club. Charles will be furious if I'm late. Now, if you could just tell me where I am and how I might contact my driver." "Ms. Whitmore, Sarah, you don't have a driver. You're a college student. You live in a dorm. Your parents are on their way here now." Victoria's face, Sarah's face, showed polite confusion. "I'm sorry, but you must have me confused with someone else. My parents are deceased. Have been for 3 years. And I certainly don't live in a dorm." She said the word like it was distasteful. Dr. Reeves pulled up Sarah's student ID on his computer. "Look, this is you, Sarah Whitmore, age 21, junior at Millbrook State." Victoria leaned forward, squinting at the screen. For just a moment, something flickered behind her eyes. Recognition. Fear. Then it was gone. "I'm afraid that girl looks nothing like me," she said coolly. "Now really, I must insist on leaving. This has been a dreadful misunderstanding." Across town, the police had descended on 1313 Maple Street. The shop was empty. Completely empty. No masks. No furniture. No Mr. Vesper. Just bare walls and a floor thick with dust, like the building had been vacant for years, which, according to records, it had been. But 63 people had bought masks there. 63 people had receipts, credit card charges from Faces and Fables LLC. The charges were real. The masks were real. The shop had existed. And now it was gone. Detective Linda Pierce had been with Millbrook PD for 15 years. She'd seen weird. She'd seen awful. But she'd never seen anything like this. She sat in her office, surrounded by files, trying to make sense of the impossible. 63 victims. 63 different faces. And as she dug deeper, a pattern emerged, a horrifying pattern. The Victorian woman that young Emily Bradford was turning into? Detective Pierce found a missing persons report from 1897. Josephine Whittaker. Last seen, October 31st, 1897. Disappeared without a trace. The description matched the mask perfectly. The rugged outdoorsman that Marcus Thompson had become? Detective Pierce found a case from 1974. Daniel Redding. Park ranger. Vanished in the mountains. Never found. The composite sketch from witness descriptions. Identical. Victoria Ashford. The face Sarah Whitmore now wore? Missing since 2001. New York socialite. Last seen at a Halloween charity gala. Case still open. Every mask, every face, every single one corresponded to a missing person. Some recent, some decades old, some from over a century ago.
They're not masks, Detective Pierce whispered, the realization turning her blood to ice. They're actual faces, real faces from real people. Her partner, Detective Raymond Foster, looked ill. That's not possible. You can't preserve human skin for 100 years. You can't. I know it's not possible, Pierce snapped. None of this is possible. But look at the evidence. She spread photos across her desk. Missing persons reports. Hospital scans. The empty shop. She pulled up traffic camera footage from Maple Street. October 29th, 11:47 p.m. The building at 1313 was dark, boarded up. October 30th, 12:03 a.m. 16 minutes later. The building was lit up, windows clear, sign hanging. It appeared out of nowhere, Pierce said. Or, not nowhere. Out of when?
What are you talking about? Look at the dates. Look at when these people disappeared. Every single one vanished on Halloween. Different years, but always Halloween. What if, she paused, knowing how insane she was about to sound. What if that shop doesn't exist in normal time? What if it appears once a year, on Halloween, hunting? Foster stared at her. You're saying some kind of, what? Time-traveling face stealer? I'm saying I don't know what the hell this is, but I know 63 people are losing themselves. Their faces are gone. Their identities are being overwritten, and unless we figure out how to stop it, Sarah Whitmore will be gone forever. They all will be. By November 1st, the psychological transformations were nearly complete. Sarah's parents visited her in the hospital. They brought photo albums, home videos, anything to help her remember. To help her hold on to who she was. But when Sarah Victoria saw the photos, she didn't recognize herself. These people, these images, they're not me. This is clearly some sort of elaborate confusion. Perhaps a case of mistaken identity. Her mother sobbed. Baby, please, it's Mom. You remember Mom?
Don't you? We made Halloween cookies together last year. You dressed as a witch. You were so excited about your costume. Victoria's expression remained polite but distant. I'm terribly sorry for your distress. But I assure you, I've never made cookies. My chef handles such matters. And I certainly have never worn such a pedestrian costume. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm quite tired. Dr. Reeves had been monitoring all 63 patients. The pattern was consistent and terrifying. Original memories were fading. Being overwritten. The faces weren't just changing their appearance. They were rewriting their entire identity. Marcus Thompson no longer remembered his wife or children. He remembered a cabin in the mountains, trap lines, a life lived alone in the wilderness. He became agitated indoors, pacing like a caged animal. Emily Bradford spoke only in Victorian English now, confused by electric lights, terrified of cars, asking for her parents who died in 1902. A businessman who'd chosen a 1950s gangster mask now had memories of speakeasies, Tommy guns, and mob hits. He spoke in period slang that nobody his age should know. It's not just psychological, Dr. Reeves explained to Detective Pierce. Brain scans show actual neural restructuring, new neural pathways forming, old ones degrading. It's like the faces came with memories, embedded memories, and those memories are overwriting the originals. How long until it's permanent? Pierce asked.
Based on the rate of change? Maybe 72 hours from initial exposure? After that,
Dr. Reeves trailed off.
After that, they're gone, Pierce finished. The original person is just erased.
Effectively, yes. Pierce looked at the calendar. November 1st Street. The masks had been put on October 31st. They had maybe 2 days left. She had to find Mr. Vesper. Had to find the shop. Had to find some way to reverse this.
But how do you catch someone who doesn't exist in normal time? November 2nd. 48 hours after the masks had been applied, Detective Pierce had an idea. A desperate, insane idea. But it was all she had. She'd been researching, digging through old newspapers, town records, folklore. And she found a pattern.
Every 20 to 30 years, Millbrook had a rash of disappearances on Halloween. The details were always vague, the cases always went cold, but the pattern was there. 1897. 7 people disappeared. 1924. 12 people. 1951. 9 people. 1978.
15 people. 1983. 18 people. 2024. 63 people. The numbers were increasing. Mr. Vesper was getting hungrier. Or bolder. Or both. Pierce found one more thing, a single reference in a 1897 newspaper article buried in the Halloween social news.
The mysterious Faces and Fables Emporium delighted partygoers with extraordinary masks.
The same name. The same shop. Over 127 years ago.
She gathered everything she'd learned and went to the hospital. To Sarah Whitmore's room. Sarah Victoria sat by the window, staring out with a wistful expression. "Miss Whitmore," Pierce said. "Sarah, I need you to listen to me. Really listen. I know you're still in there somewhere." Victoria turned, her expression polite but distant. "I'm afraid you're mistaken about Your name is Sarah Elizabeth Whitmore," Pierce interrupted. "You're 21 years old.
You're majoring in psychology. Your favorite food is your mom's lasagna. You have a birthmark on your left shoulder shaped like a butterfly. Your first kiss was with Tommy Reese in 8th grade, and you still cringe thinking about it." Something flickered behind Victoria's eyes. Confusion. A fragment of recognition. "You're wearing someone else's face," Pierce continued. "Someone named Victoria Ashford. She went missing in 2001. Halloween night. Just like you're going to go missing if we don't stop this."
I don't." Victoria's confident voice wavered.
"There's something wrong. I remember the club. My parents' estate. Charles. But I also remember a dorm room? A roommate named Jessica? That can't be right. I don't live in a dorm." "Yes, you do. You did. You're Sarah. And I'm going to help you get your face back." Pierce pulled out a photograph. Not of Sarah. Of Victoria Ashford. The real Victoria Ashford. From 2001.
Victoria stared at the photo. At her own face. At the newspaper article describing her disappearance. That's me. But I'm not missing. I'm right here. Her hands went to her face, trembling. "What did he do to me? What did Mr. Vesper do to me?" And in that moment, Sarah broke through. "Please," she said, her voice her own again, desperate and terrified. "Please help me. I can feel myself disappearing. I can feel her taking over. I don't want to be Victoria. I want to be me." "I'm going to fix this," Pierce said. "I promise." But she had less than 24 hours.
November 3rd, stored midnight. Detective Pierce stood outside 1313 Maple Street. The building was dark. Vacant. But she'd brought something. A mask. And not one from the shop. A simple, cheap Halloween mask. A skull. A skull. Plastic. Harmless. She'd read enough folklore to understand how these things worked. Thresholds. Invitations. Symbolism.
Mr. Vesper dealt in faces, in masks, in transformation. So she put on her cheap mask and knocked on the door of the abandoned building. Nothing happened. She knocked again.
"I know you're in there. I know what you are. I know what you've done." The door opened. Not slowly, not creaking like a horror movie. It just was open. And beyond it, impossibly, was the shop. Fully stocked, pristine, and standing behind the counter was Mr. Vesper.
"Detective Pierce," he said warmly. "I was wondering when you'd figure it out. Do come in."
She stepped inside, keeping the cheap mask on.
"The faces! They're real missing people." "Of course they are," Mr. Vesper said. "I preserve them, give them new life."
Immortality. Really. Victoria Ashford disappeared in 2001. But now she lives again, walks again, experiences the world again. It's quite beautiful if you think about it. You're stealing people, stealing their faces and their lives. I'm preserving them. They would have died anyway. Time takes everyone. But this way, they continue. They persist. And the wearers? They get to be someone new, someone better, a fair trade. They didn't consent. The families don't know. Sarah Whitmore is disappearing. Mr. Vesper's expression hardened. Sarah Whitmore chose to put on that mask. She chose transformation. That's the agreement. That's always been the agreement.
Then give them a choice to take them off. They can't come off.
Detective. The ritual is complete. The merge has begun. By sunrise, all 63 will be fully transformed. The old identities will be gone. The preserved ones will live on. Pierce pulled out her gun. I don't care about your ritual. You're going to reverse it now. Mr. Vesper laughed. Not cruelly. Almost sadly. You can't shoot me, detective. I'm not really here. Not in the way you understand. He gestured around the shop. I'm the threshold. The between. I exist in the spaces where time folds.
Then I'll burn this place down.
And trap all 63 in their current state forever? Stuck between identities? Neither themselves nor the preserved? That's cruelty, detective. At least my way. One identity survives. Pierce lowered her gun. He was right. Destroying the shop wouldn't save them. It would trap them. There has to be another way. Mr. Vesper studied her, then smiled. There is one way, but you won't like it. Tell me. A trade. A face for a face. You wear a mask. You complete the ritual, and I'll release one of them. Your choice.
Pierce's blood ran cold. You want me to become someone else? To lose myself? For 62 others to lose themselves, yes. Or you can sacrifice yourself. And one person of your choosing, keeps their identity. What's one life weighed against 63?
What's the ethical calculus there, detective? She thought of Sarah. Of her parents sobbing in that hospital room. Of 63 families losing their loved ones. She thought of her own life. Her identity. Everything she was. And she made her choice. I'll do it, she said. But you release all of them. All 63. Mr. Vesper's eyes glinted. That's not the deal. That's my only offer. I trade my face, my identity, for all of theirs. Or burn this place down and we all lose.
For a long moment, Mr. Vesper was silent. Then he smiled. You know what? Fine.
It's been so long since someone offered themselves willingly. Sacrificially. That kind of intention. That has power. Real power. More than the desperate vanity of people wanting to be beautiful or impressive. He gestured, and a mirror appeared.
Choose your face, detective. Choose who you'll become.
Carefully.
Pierce looked at the masks. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All preserved faces from throughout time. And then she saw it. In the back. A mask that looked wrong. Distorted. Almost abstract. What's that one? Mr. Vesper's smile faded. That's not for customers. What is it?
That, he said quietly, is the face of someone who tried to cheat the ritual, who tried to wear a mask without completing the transformation. It didn't end well. Pierce walked to it. Picked it up. It was her cheap plastic skull mask. But changed. Transformed by the shop's power. I'll wear this one, she said. That will destroy you, Mr. Vesper said, genuinely alarmed. There's no identity there, no preserved person. You'll become nothing. You'll cease to exist.
No, Pierce said. I'll become something you can't control, something outside your system. And if I'm nothing, if I don't exist... She put on the mask. The mask touched her skin, and reality shattered.
They found Detective Pierce 3 days later. She was standing in the middle of what used to be 1313 Maple Street. The building was gone. Not abandoned. Gone. Just an empty lot. She was wearing no mask. Her face was normal. But when she spoke, when she tried to explain what happened, the words came out wrong. Scrambled, like multiple voices talking at once.
But all 63 victims were cured. The masks fell away like paper. Sarah Whitmore woke up herself. Marcus Thompson remembered his family. Emily Bradford spoke in her own voice again. Mr. Vesper was gone. The shop was gone. The masks were gone.
But so, in a way, was Detective Linda Pierce. Oh, she looked like herself. But behind her eyes was something else now, something that had stared into the between spaces and come back, changed. She quit the force.
Disappeared. Some say she still walks the streets on Halloween nights, watching, protecting, making sure the shop never returns. Others say she became the shop. That she's the new guardian of the threshold, the new keeper of preserved faces. That unlike Mr. Vesper, she doesn't collect. She protects. She turns people away. She burns masks before they can be sold. Because she understands now. Understands what it means to wear a face that isn't yours. And she'll spend eternity making sure no one else has to learn that lesson. This Halloween, when you put on your mask, your plastic, harmless, store-bought mask, remember this story. Remember that some transformations go deeper than skin. Remember that some faces remember who they used to be. And if you see a shop that wasn't there yesterday, selling masks that look too real, walk away. Some bargains aren't worth making. And some faces are meant to be lost. Happy Halloween, everyone.